Welcome to CAD Assignment 1, Fusion 360, where we're going to be drawing, yes, you guessed it, it's on the screen, that same block that we drew manually using orthographic style. So, this video, or this tutorial, presumes that you've already done the basics series and you know how to move around and zoom in and out and pan and all sorts of things like that was in the basics series. If you haven't spent your time there, well, it's not worth continuing until you do, because you'll be lost for sure. So we're stepping off from there, so here we go. So on the screen you can see the finished block that we're going to be drawing, and we're going to be drawing this block from, this should look familiar, this sheet that we had earlier with all the dimensions on it. So you'll have one of these sheets to help you or remind you of all the measurements, and then we can draw the block. So let's put this back if I can. Oh, hang on. There we go. Put this back where I had it on my other screen and do something there. Okay, so I'm back. Okay, so where do we begin? Well, in Fusion we start by starting a new design file here. So a new file up here, new designs. We'll click there and we open up a new file. And it's untitled right now. It's always a good idea to start by saving, so that way we can save regularly in case we lose something. The location you can set up by hitting this, clicking this down arrow, and you can set up your projects over here. If you want to start a new project folder, you can start a new folder here. I have a folder already set up. It's called Drafting 10. I would suggest you do the same. And then I put my files in there. So, and then we'll hit save. So we're saving. Oh, I didn't give it a name. Haha, let's do this again. Let's go File, Save As, because it's currently called Untitled. And we'll call this Ortho Block Assignment 1. There we go, that'll work. Save it. And it changes up here so you know you did it, and it also changes at the top of your browser tree here. It says Ortho Block Assignment 1. Okay, here we go. Well, whenever you want to draw something in Fusion, you start by creating a sketch. So we're going to create a sketch, and we do that by heading up here to create a sketch, or it's also underneath this drop down. There is a create a sketch here, but usually I just go to that one right there. Hit create a sketch. Now you'll get your planes. Your origin is what this is called. This is where it's talking about it. And these are our planes. And if you look over here at the view cube, we already explained this. I'm going to look for the top plane, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to look top down on this when I'm drawing it. Okay, so I'm going to start by drawing a rectangle. So we go over here to the create and click it, and we head down to rectangle and realize there's 3 different ways to draw a rectangle, and we're going to use that center one again. So center rectangle is where we are, should be familiar now, and we'll click and pull out. So click once, pull out, and don't click again, and you should get your measurements on there. Now you go to your sheet and you decide how big this was looking down from above. And the vertical is currently highlighted in blue there, so let's look at our vertical measurement, and it says 4 1/4. So 4 space 1/4. Enter. Oh, I shouldn't have pushed enter. I'm going to hit Control Z and back up for a second and start again. I could have fixed it, but I won't do that to you yet. So back to drawing the rectangle. There we go. Instead of pushing enter when you put your 4 1/4 in, what you want to do is hit tab. And then when you hit tab, you go up to the other box, and we'll put in the other measurement, which is 5 1/16. There we go. And now we can push enter. And we'll see our dimensions up here. And if these dimensions don't go in correctly, you can always double click on them and change them. Right? So 5 1/16 shows up as, we'll hit escape for a second here, 5.063, because 5.0625 is the same as 5 1/16. So it's just converted it to decimal for us. But if I double click on it, you can see it's showing me the actual fractional size. Okay, good enough. So that's the size of our block, and if we go and look at the block, we remember it had a radius corner here. I think I'm going to put that in right now. So I'm going to go up here and find this fillet tool, and I'm going to click this line, and I'm going to put in the radius, which was 1 inch, and hit enter. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the center and make it turn blue, and then I'm going to hit E on my keyboard for extrude, that's E, and nothing seems to happen until I orbit a little bit, and now you can see there was an arrow pointing straight at me. If I'm looking at this straight on from above, the arrow, you can't see it because it's pointing straight at you. But if you orbit around a little bit, again, Shift on your keyboard and middle scroll wheel button down at the same time, and you can orbit. And now we're going to head up and pull this up. How far up did it go? Well, if we go back to our drawing and check how tall the block was, it was 1 and 11/16. 1 space 11/16. Enter. So there's our block. So that's the start point. Next part is we're going to sketch on the front face. So we're going to go create another sketch, and we're going to choose the front face. Remember, in CAD, you have to sketch on a work plane or a plane, which is where we started on the origin, or we can sketch on the surface of something. So I picked the front, and you can see I'm in the front view because the view cube over here is front. This sketch palette, you may have it missing. It might be like that. You can expand it when you need it. It's got some shortcuts to things we want. Maybe I'll just close it for now. Okay, so I'm sketching on this front face. I know that because it says finish sketch up here. And so as long as it says finish sketch, I am in a sketch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some lines on here. So I'm just going to put a line, and I'm going to make sure when I create my line that there's a little blue X where my pointer is, and that means it's joining to that vertical edge. So I'm just going to click there once, and I'm going to drag across. I'm going to click again, and make sure when you click the second time, there's a little square box that appears right near your pointer. That square box means you're 90 degrees. Just click again. And this symbol down here that just appeared means that we are perpendicular. So this line is perpendicular to that one. And now we'll put another one in, just anywhere. You're like, wait a minute, shouldn't there be measurements? Again, it's going to be attached to both sides. When you're done pushing lines, I'm still trying to create lines. I'm going to hit escape, and it will stop making lines. And now we can do the next thing. So the next thing is to determine how far this line should be away from the edge. So what I'm going to do is hit D on my keyboard to bring up the dimensioning tool, and you can see near my mouse pointer there, it's supposed to look like a dimensioning symbol has popped up. I'm going to click the bottom edge, and then I'm going to click the line that I'd like to dimension, and then I'm going to pull left and click one more time. Now I get to enter how high that should be. And if I go back to the drawing that I'm using as reference, it says it should be 5/8 or 5/8. There. That is now 5/8 away. Now here's my next one. This line, I'm going to keep dimensioning. My pointer says I'm still dimensioning. I'm going to dimension this one to here. Pull it out, and it says on the drawing that that should be 9/16. Enter. So now I have my dimensions set. This will be the offset, or this is the 1/2 inch on the drawing right in here. So I don't have to dimension that. I'll just leave it the way it is. We'll hit escape for the moment. Now, the next thing we're going to be concerned with is how far over from this edge, and I'll bring this drawing over now so you can see it. How far over is this cutaway? That's what I'm looking for here. So we did some math, and we figured out that, here, I'll make it a little bigger. There we go. Let's see if I can, well, I can't show you, but this is 5 1/16 down below, and this is 4 1/8. And if you took 5 1/16 and you subtracted the 4 1/8, this ledge was 15/16 here. So now we're going to go back. There we go. And we are going to make a line 15/16 over. So 15/16 over, we're going to first of all make a line. It's got to be perpendicular. Then we're going to dimension that line using D on the keyboard, picking the two sides and clicking up there. And then it has to be 15/16, enter. Okay, that's good. Now what we're going to do is we are going to hit escape, stop dimensioning. We're going to take that part there and that part gets cut in. So I'm going to extrude it, E on my keyboard, and then I'm going to push in. How far? Well, on the diagram that we have that we're working from, it says it's supposed to go in 11/16. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this part here, -11/16. And it doesn't like the inches at the end, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And there we go. We should be fine. Just a -11/16. Push enter. So that's good. Okay. And now what's left to do? Well, if I go back to this drawing, well, actually I could flip back to this. This is easy. We have to cut this part away right here. We've done this part in here. We got to cut this part away. So I'm going to head back, and this is where I could head back to that same sketch. Down here, it's keeping track of all the steps we've made. The first thing we did was we made the overall sketch looking down from above, then we extruded it, then we made a sketch on this surface. If I double click that sketch, I can re-enter it, and I can pick this area. Holding shift, I can pick this area. So I can pick both. I'm going to hit E on my keyboard, and I'm going to extrude. And how far should it go through? Well, it goes all the way to this surface. I could do the math on that, or Fusion can do the math by me saying, let's extrude through, not a certain distance with a certain measurement, but we'll hit this drop down, and you'll see I can go to Object. Click that, and then pick the surface you want to extrude to, which was this surface. Push OK. Look at that. It's looking like exactly what we want. Now, why do I have all these little black lines here? Well, if I expand all my sketches that I've made here, you can see this one has an eyeball on, which means it's visible. Normally sketches are turned off. This one has been turned on, so if I want it to go off, I'll just do this. And there we are. Looks like exactly what I want, except I'm missing the hole in the top. So the hole, let's start. Let's make a sketch on the top surface. Let's make a circle with a center diameter circle. So I just click anywhere on here. Boom. It seems weird, I know right now. Head back to your reference and find out how big the circle should be. It should be 1 space 1/4 for 1.25 inches. Push enter. Now, let's put this circle in the right place by dimensioning it in. So if I hit D for dimension, click on the edge of the circle, click on the edge of the block, and pull out to the left, I can enter how far that distance should be. And on our diagram, it says 2 1/8. Enter. Then the next dimension I have to put in is circle to this edge and raise that up. And our diagram says 2 1/16, 2 space 1/16, enter. So this is now dimensioned into the right place. And now what I can do is hit escape to stop dimensioning. My pointer will lose the dimension symbol. I can pick this middle part, and I can then extrude it down by pushing E on the keyboard. How far? Well, looking at our diagram that we drew earlier, it goes all the way through to this surface. So again, I'm going to go up to distance and change it to object. I'm going to pick this surface underneath here, zoom in so I can get it, this surface, and it's now cutting, it's giving me a preview all the way through to that point. Last thing we have to do is put a circle in the middle. So we're going to create a sketch on this surface. That was the surface inside the hole. I'm going to make another center circle. See how it snapped to the middle? Then I'm going to pull it out, and this hole was 3/8 of an inch. Enter. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it. I'm going to hit E on my keyboard so I can extrude it. And I'm going to push it down all the way to object over here and click the bottom surface. So it's going to extrude to there. And I am done. So that was pretty easy to draw. It didn't take very long. I'll give you the last little thing you can do. Only if you want. Head up to Modify and choose Appearance. You'll get a little menu that pops up eventually. Oh, it's over here. I got to expand it. And this has a whole bunch of surface appearances that you can apply. They're in categories: metal, mirror, all this stuff. I was applying, I think, maple. Quilted glossy, whatever that means. Oh, so no, I was going to go maple semi-gloss. That's what I'll do. What I do is I click and hold the little hand, like click your normal mouse button on the left, hold it down and drag it onto the surface. And voila. And then we'll just close this. And now it's like wood, like that wooden one that's floating around the class. Okay, next tutorial, we're going to make those orthographic drawings from our model. But congratulations, you made your first decent model.